Hey guys, welcome back to another World of Warcraft video here in the Shadowlands. I apologize guys, I haven't done a video in a long time, or at least it feels like it. I don't know how long it's been, but welcome back. Um, Hopefully you can hear me okay, hopefully the video quality is good here. I've got OBS dialed back in. Um, yeah, so this video is going to focus on my rogue. I was leveling, one of the last videos I did was on my warrior. You guys saw I was leveling him. I really like the warrior, but I started leveling my a rogue, I should say, and I really enjoyed the stealth and the style that the rogue had to offer. Is very unique. It's nothing I've ever seen in World of Warcraft before, which is a lot. It's saying a lot because I've played quite a few characters. I've actually played every single character now that I have a rogue. I have one of every character in the game, and yeah, so the Rogue is a very special class that I want to talk about, and specifically we're going to talk about the Subtlety Rogue. I have enjoyed the hell out of this class since I've been leveling through and getting him to max level. So currently, we'll fast forward. Obviously, I leveled him, and he is now max level. He is currently 241.38. Just achieved my first, or I should say, obtained my first legendary here, my Cinch of Unity, which is my legendary belt in Zereth Mortis. So uh, the sub rogue favors the Venthyr Covenant, so I am running Venthyr. I really like it because it matches the KSM Season 3 mount, which is the red and black kind of theme, which I really like. It's my favorite KSM mount that they've offered so far. Got some pretty decent gear. I am working on getting my other legendary, and I do not have any tier set pieces yet, which kind of sucks because tier set is so powerful. So hopefully I can get my tier set pieces soon. Obviously we have the creation catalyst, which is a great catch-up mechanism for uh, tier set pieces, but I just don't have any good pieces right now to turn into tier set, and I don't have enough of the currency to do it either. So we'll talk a little bit about why I like the rogue so much. That's really what this video is going to be about. It's hopefully not going to be too boring for you guys. I just kind of wanted to highlight the rogue. I think it's a very interesting class. If you guys are looking for a solid melee, the rogue is a phenomenal option. Um, First off, we'll discuss the elephant in the room, the stealth. So this guy, the theme around the rogue, which I really like, is the stealth aspect of the class, which you have these abilities that allow you to be stealth. So clearly there's like, stealth itself. I'll drop down here and show you just quickly what all this stuff looks like. So stealth, you can literally just go into stealth like this, and it makes that noise, and boom, you're stealthed. That's it. And there's certain enemies that can see you when you're stealth, so you have to be careful not to get too close to them. They have like a ring over their head. But otherwise, you're completely invisible to enemies, and you can just run around and sneak around and not be caught by enemies, which is cool. When you're questing, it's really nice because you can, if you have an area full of enemies, like let's say down here was just flooded with enemies, we could just drop down, go into stealth, run around, collect what we needed, and leave. Don't have to sit there and kill everything and be constantly surrounded by stuff. There's also distract, which is nice. It basically just throws this thing out that distracts enemies for 10 seconds. It's like a circle, so it kind of goes like this, and you just go like that, and then whatever enemies are in that circle will be distracted to that center point. So you can be stealthed and use distract and stay stealthed, which is crazy to me. That's just wild. Um, we also have the ability Vanish. Vanish is insanely powerful. Basically, if you're in combat, you disappear into stealth out of combat. You can do it every 2 minutes. In the first 3 seconds after vanishing, damage and harmful effects will not actually break the stealth. So normally, if you have some sort of a damage over time ability that's on you and you go into stealth, it's going to break you out immediately because you're being damaged. You can't be stealth while you're being damaged. So this kind of buys you a little bit of time for those first 3 seconds to get those bleeds off of you. I'm also running as a dwarf, so I have stone form, which is nice because I can remove all harmful poisons, diseases, curse, magic, and bleed effects, which is insane every 2 minutes. and it reduces my physical damage taken by 10% for 8 seconds, but really it's more for the removal. So if I have a bleed on me, I can always remove it and then vanish. Or if I'm, you know, out in the open world and I'm away from the enemies but the bleed's still on me, I can remove it and then just go stealth with my normal stealth button. Sap is another crazy ability with the rogue. There's two true CCs or crowd controls in World of Warcraft. One is the Demon Hunter within prison, and the other is the rogue with stealth, or I'm sorry, sap. So you incap a target or incapacitate a target not in combat for 1 minute. Only works on humanoids, beasts, demons, and dragonkin. Damage will revive the target, limit 1. So this is great because you can literally sap something and you can be out of stealth and run right by it, and you do not go into combat with that enemy, which is really important to note. A lot of CCs, like if you look at hunters, you look at mages, a lot of these CCs, if you CC something, like let's say there's an enemy right here, and I CC it, right? And then I get close enough to get into combat with it, I'll go into combat with it, and then when I leave combat and I'm over here doing my business, just kind of running around doing whatever, eventually when the CC breaks, I'm still in combat with the enemy, especially in dungeons. It's really important to remember because then all of a sudden you're like, where did all these enemies come from that haven't been here for a minute? It's because the CC broke and now all of a sudden you're getting chased. So sap, incredibly useful in dungeons, specifically like Miss Satyrna Scythe is one I think of, where you want to skip certain packs, and it's just incredible. That first pack when you go to Miss Satyrna Scythe, trying to sneak by the rock, you guys all know what I'm talking about if you've been in Mists. You can sap, and then also as the rogue, if that's not good enough, with all these cool little abilities I've mentioned, I can Shroud, which basically conceals everybody within a 30-yard radius in shadows, providing stealth for 15 seconds. So this is what it looks like. See that big old circle that just showed up, and everything in that circle is stealth. So all my friends that are in that circle, you'll see it come back after 4, 3, 2. You'll see the circle shrink back down. Everything in that giant circle that you saw, basically covering this whole rock, would be stealthed. So we can all run together as long as my friends stay close to me, and they can stealth past enemies as well. Great for skipping enemies in dungeons. Super powerful on a 6-minute CD. And the abilities with the rogue, let's go ahead and pop down below here. Gonna change scenery a little bit. Maybe go down to the grassy area here and see if anything's down here. This looks like a good spot. First of all, let's just acknowledge that the dwarf is awesome. The dwarf is so fucking cool. This transmog I got is pretty sweet, and the dwarf is just sweet. Look at those daggers. Just the burning of those daggers is just so fucking cool, and I love the theme of the rogue, and like he's just so badass, man. I don't know. It's all about that fantasy too. You want to make sure it fits what you're looking to do, and the rogue does it. It really does for me. So we're dwarf, so that's what gives us the stone form. So the abilities, basically you build up energy, which is this yellow bar right here, or you use energy and you build up your power here. So your power builds up. I actually can store 6 slots of power, and what you do is you use abilities to build up power, and then you spend those powers on finishers. So the finishers are pretty sweet because there's different types. So like Eviscerate, for instance, is kind of a finisher that you focus one target. You really want to chomp down one target really fast. And based on how many points you have, so you can see there's 1 point up to 6 points, that's how much damage you're going to do. So those points, I think they're basically called combo points on the top here. When they build up to 6, and I spend 6 on Eviscerate, I'm going to get 3,282 damage, which is a pretty good chunk of damage. So you have these finishers. Another one is a bleed, Rupture. So this bleeds over time, and the more points you have, the longer it will bleed for, and the more it'll bleed for. So 6,634 damage over 28 seconds is nothing to balk at. It's kind of one of those things where if the enemy's going to survive for a long time, this bleed becomes very important. You want to put Rupture on them in the beginning and let Rupture sort of just bleed away at them, over time, which is really cool. It says it tears open the target, dealing bleed damage over time. That's just badass. Eviscerate's kind of a crazy one too. Disembowels the target, causing damage per combo point. Ooh, yeah. Um, let's see what else here. There's I should mention the two most important area of effect abilities, guys. So when you've got a lot of enemies around, some of the coolest abilities you've got in your arsenal here I should say, Shuriken Storm and Black Powder. Now, Shuriken Storm is awesome because it basically hits everything around you and it awards 1 combo point per target hit, which is crazy because if you've got 5 or 6 targets, let's say 6 targets, that's gonna give you 6 combo points in 1 hit. So you're literally Shuriken Storm deciding how to spend it. Shuriken Storm deciding how to spend it. Shuriken Storm deciding how to spend it. Now, if you have a lot of enemies around you, right, and you want to just blast those enemies down equally, you use Black Powder, because Black Powder hits all of the enemies for these points right here, as you can see. 6 points, 1,492 damage. So beyond anything beyond 8 targets, the damage is a little bit reduced. So really the best scenario for a rogue is to be like between 6 and 8 targets to use Shuriken Storm, Black Powder, Shuriken Storm, and you're literally just boom, 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 boom. So you're like maxing out combo points, blasting it on Black Powder. It's so cool. So cool. I'll take you guys through a dungeon run with me, and I'll show you some of these things kind of in motion. Not in this video, because it'll be way too long. One of the cooldowns I have actually is Shuriken Tornado, which is a talent that I chose to take. And it says focus intently, then releasing a Shuriken Storm every second for the next 4 seconds. So it's literally like Shuriken Storm, Shuriken Storm, Shuriken Storm, Shuriken Storm. So if you can time it right, you hover your finger over 3, and when you press F4, you wait. It does its automatic Shuriken Storm, you hit Black Powder, then it does another Shuriken Storm, then it hits Black Powder, then you do... So you do it very quickly, boom, 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 and it just blasts the enemies. It is insane. That's on a 1-minute cooldown, so it's up quite a bit. So some of the abilities that help us build these points up even quicker, Shadow Dance. Shadow Dance puts us into... it doesn't put us into... stealth, but it lets us use all of our stealth abilities. So in stealth, you'll see when I go into stealth, this backstab, which is my basic attack, goes and turns into Shadow Strike. Now, Shadow Strike gives me 2 combo points versus backstab only gives me 1 combo point, but also Shadow Strike, while stealth, you strike through the shadows and appear behind your target 25 yards away, so you teleport to them 25 yards away, so great for moving in quickly and striking, fast, which is what the rogue is all about. And then it does a pretty good chunk of damage, but those 2 combo points are huge. So if you use Shadow Dance lets you use all of your stealth abilities while you're not stealthed. So you can Shadow Dance and then Shadow Strike. Those Shadow Strikes are giving you 2 combo points apiece. It's going to build you up a lot faster to jump into a finisher. Whether it's going to be putting your Rupture on first, then going back doing more Shadow Strikes, then going back to Eviscerate. And Shadow Dance doesn't last super long. It's only for 8 seconds, but I've got 2 charges of it, which is a talent that you pick. And not only do you have 2 charges of it, its cooldown is reduced by using finishers, which is another thing that I have kind of going for me here at max level, which is nice. So this is up a lot of the time, so I'm maintaining this a lot, almost all the time. And then there's this guy up here, Symbols of Death. This is every 30 seconds. Invoke ancient symbols of power, generating 40 energy and increasing your damage done by 15% for 10 seconds. Your next combo point generator will critically strike, but guarantees that critical strike and also just really helps out with upping your damage. This thing is available every 30 seconds, so this is something I also like to maintain pretty much constantly in conjunction with Shadow Dance. I really use these 2 all the time. As soon as they're up, I'm popping them because they're really, really OP. And that you'll notice you'll build up combo points really quickly to then be pumping these finishers out depending on the situation, which I really like. So here's another scenario that the rogue really excels at. while I'm thinking of it. You have multiple targets here, right? Let's say we have 8 targets, but there's one target that's a real pain in your fucking ass, and that target needs to die soon. Instead of just blasting everything down with black powder evenly, you can use your Shuriken Storm or even your Shuriken Tornado to generate combo points very quickly because you're getting 1 point per enemy, remember? And then using Eviscerate and Rupture to just fucking annihilate that one enemy. So your Shuriken Storm Eviscerate or your Shuriken Storm Rupture. Then, while Rupture is bleeding in the background, you're Shuriken Storming again and eviscerating. Or maybe you'll do Shuriken Storm at first, then do Rupture to get the bleed out on the enemy, and then do Shuriken Tornado if it's up, and then eviscerate, Shuriken Tornado, eviscerate, Shuriken Tornado, those 4 quick Shuriken Storms with 4 eviscerates. That's gonna hurt, and it just blasts enemies down. And if you have that up while you have Shadow Dance and you have Symbols of Death up, and God forbid you have Shadow Blades up, this is one of our biggest cooldowns. Draws upon surrounding shadows to empower your weapons, causing your combo point generating abilities to generate 1 additional combo point and deal 50% additional damage as shadow for 20 seconds. So this is just a combo point monster. Plus you're increasing your damage by 50%. That's crazy as shadow. And then you got your 10% or your 15% increase here. So that's literally a 65% jump, if you think of it in those terms. And then you're using these abilities, your combo points. I've almost gotten to the point where I pop all cooldowns, and every button I press, every time I press one of my builders, I'm generating pretty much max combo points and spending them pretty much the exact next press of a button. And I'm just dumping finishers out. It's so cool. The other thing I want to mention real quick before I forget is their slice and dice. Very, very fun. So 1 to 6 combo points you can spend. So 6 gives you 42 seconds of slice and dice. Finishing move that consumes combo points to increase attack speed by 50%. Lasts longer per combo point. So basically, I try to get this out right away. This is one of my top priorities in the beginning because when slice and dice is active, you're just pumping out way more. You're getting more combo points on the bar faster. And your attack speed is just quicker. So you're just passively doing way more damage. So, if I have an enemy that's really a beastie boy right here, I'm popping cooldowns, right? I'm popping Symbols of Death, I'm popping Shadow Dance, and I'm popping Shadow Blades. But as soon as that bar is full, first thing I'm spending it on is Slice and Dice. Then when that bar is full again, I'm spending it on Rupture. And then when it's full again, I'm going into my Eviscerates. And then another ability that I kind of want to tell you guys about here is this Flagellation. This is the ability through the Venthyr Covenant that I was talking about. And this is interesting. So it lashes the target for 2066 shadow damage. But the interesting part, causing each combo point spent within 12 seconds to lash for an additional 413. Dealing damage with Flagellation increases your haste by 5%, persisting 12 seconds after their torment fades. Very, very powerful cooldown, only on 1.5 minute CD, which is really nice. And then my legendary that I just got, Flagellation, now also increases your versatility by 0.5%, which versatility is our #1 stat as Sub-Rogue, our #1 minor stat. Each combo point spent while Flagellation is active decreases its cooldown by 1 second. Every combo point spent in Flagellation, that's like, you can spend quite a few combo points. You could drop a good 30 seconds off of this thing very easily, which is great for cooldown reduction. So you can see how this all synergizes very well. Movement stuff we'll talk about real quick. We got Sprint every minute. Increases your movement speed by 70% for 8 seconds. Usable while stealth. Phenomenal. Also allows you to run over water. Just a bonus. This thing is great. You can just be in stealth and just sprint around. I mean, I'll show you real quick how nice it is. You can really be moving right around. And then it's only on a minute cooldown, which is really nice. But, excuse me, the other thing we have is Shadow Step. Step through the shadows to appear behind your target and gain 70% increased movement speed. 2 seconds. So you pick a target. Once it's in range, you click it. Isn't that just epic? And that's only on a, 27-second recharge? So as long as it's a targetable thing, you can target your friends in your party. You target them, and as soon as this bar, see how it gets kind of like from invisible to solid, you know you're within that that range, and then just bloop, you literally appear behind them, still stealthed, which is really nice if it's an enemy. And the other movement ability that's really not, we've already kind of talked about, it's an attack, but Shadow Strike. Shadow Strike teleports you 25 yards away behind your target. And so, if I'm going to attack this thing right here, I could use Shadow Strike right now. I could use Shadow Strike all the way back there. I can Shadow Strike right from here. That's a pretty good jump in. So that's really really nice. And then if you chain target, like if you go to this guy, right? You get your increased movement speed behind him, and then you're heading up the hill here, and you're like, I'll go to this guy. And we just went from down there up to here in no time. That's really really cool. So, and then we have sprint. So if we wanted to keep going up the hill, we can go, hey, I'm gonna sprint up here. Oh, this is the enemy I'm looking for right here, but we're invisible, so he can't see us. What's up, bro? Sit behind him. Do a little, we could dance it out. Yeah, I mean, this is what being a rogue's all about, What's up, big boy? Hopefully he doesn't fart in my fucking face. That'd be terrible. Anyway, it's really really cool to be able to just stealth around and be like, we could wave to him. Want to wave to him? Let's go over on side. Hey, bro. Oh, it's not letting me wave to him because I gotta have my. There we go. We could do like get up real close to him and give him a kiss. Bitch. And these guys, if you get super close to stuff, like they can sense you're there, and if you really hang out too long, it can break stealth. But for the most part, you can see I'm super close to all this, and it's totally fine. So head back over here. Boom. Oh, look at that! We got to attack this thing. Nice. All right. Pop this, pop that. And we're just gonna eviscerate that beast down. And then the other abilities. So let's see if I want to talk about just some defensives that I have here. You can pickpocket as a rogue, which is super cool. So you can pick locks, you can pickpocket, so you can go into stealth and then pickpocket something, try to get stuff off of it. You can, like I said, pick locks. So if you get chests that require lock picking, you can just kind of skip that as a rogue, which is nice. Blind, which is super cool. Blinds the target, causing it to wander disoriented for 1 minute. Damage will interrupt the effect. So we can actually blind this guy really quick. So it sort of just does that little thing over his head, and he just sort of wanders around blind for a minute. Can't really do anything. I don't know if I can sap this thing. Yep, I can sap him too. So the sap is the true CC. So now I can, if he was an actual enemy, I could literally be right here, and he's sapped. He's not doing anything. You can see the sap right here. 48 seconds. The blind is 38. So two really nice abilities. I can pop back into stealth and just say bye-bye. Have a nice day. So very, very sneaky, which is what I love about the rogue. You can just like sneak around. You're like the silent assassin, just running around and just jumping out of the shadows and just stabbing the shit out of things, putting bleeds on them, using friggin' Shuriken Storms on multiple enemies, and then doing bombs. It's just a really cool class. But anyway, some of my other... Okay, so there's Shiv, which I want to tell you guys about real quick. So Shiv is nice because, when enemies enrage in World of Warcraft, they do a lot more damage usually. Sometimes I don't know if they take reduced damage, but I know they hurt. They do quite a bit. So in dungeons, it's nice because there's certain enemies that enrage, even like bosses, that get, big red and friggin' enraged and angry. This actually removes enrage effects, which is awesome. So that's really the big take home with Shiv, is that it removes enrage effects, and it also dispels enrage effects and applies a concentrated form of non-lethal poison. So that's really handy to have. Our basic interrupt is kick, which is really cool. 15-second cooldown, you can kick. And then there's also kidney shot over here, which is one of the finishers. So you have to have a point, at least a combo point, to spend on kidney shot. But kidney shot's only a 20-second cooldown, and that's a stun, which is really, really, really handy. Finishing move that stuns the target, and then depending on how many points you use, how long the target remains stunned. So very, very cool. And poisons are another thing. So there's this numbing poison, there's a wound poison, crippling poison, and instant poison. So two of them are non-lethal and two of them are lethal. You can have one lethal, one non-lethal up at a time. So like right now I don't have any. So we can coat our weapons in the numbing poison, and then I like to coat my weapons in the wound poison. So you'll see up top here now in our buffs, we have numbing poison. So each strike has a chance of poisoning the enemy, slowing their attack and spellcasting by 15%. 10 seconds, which is nice. And then wound poison, which each weapon strike has a chance of inflicting additional nature damage to the victim and reducing all healing received for 12 seconds. Very, very, very cool with the poisons. You can kind of pick and choose with those. Last thing we'll go over real quick is cooldowns, kind of for like helping yourself not die. So Crimson Vial is really, really awesome. I use it all the time. First of all, it's usable while stealth, which I love. It's a heal, and it actually heals you for 20% of your maximum health over 4 seconds. It is phenomenal, and it's only 30-second cooldown. So really great way. You're hurting with health. This thing, you can just drink these and my health's not down right now, but that's it. Boom. 4 seconds. If my health was down 20%, I'd be full health. Very, very handy. Evasion is really nice, so it increases your dodge chance by 100% for 10 seconds. It's on a 2-minute CD, which is pretty nice. It lines up really nice with a lot of your other cooldowns. And it just basically is really, really handy for obviously just evading attacks and just reducing damage coming in. So just overall nice damage reduction. Cloak of Shadows is crazy powerful in certain dungeons. Spires of Ascension on the third boss, it's insane because you can soak orbs. So basically what it does is it provides a moment of magic immunity, instantly removing all harmful spell effects. The cloak lingers, causing you to resist harmful spells for 5 seconds. So basically what you do with that third boss in Spires of Ascension, those orbs that hit you are actually like a damage over time harmful spell effect, which this thing is perfect for. So you soak a bunch of orbs until your health is basically in the shitter, and then you pop Cloak of Shadows, and it removes the harmful spell effects right away, gives you magic immunity right away, and it causes you to resist those harmful spells for 5 seconds. So you can soak an entire phase of orbs instead of the tank having to do it in Spires of Ascension with a rogue, which is really cool, especially if it's a week like a tyrannical week where the boss has way more health and you might have to go through 2 cycles of orbs before he dies. The tank can soak the first set and then you can soak the second set. Or if you have a tank that's kind of weak and doesn't have great cooldowns for soaking the orbs, or just doesn't have great armor, you can offer up your abilities to soak the orbs and get through that phase for your friends. So very, very cool. And you can use Cloak of Shadows on the move, which is really nice. And that's really it, guys. I didn't want to make this a super long video. I tried to keep it as short as possible. I apologize if it's been sort of long. The Rogue, obviously, as you can tell by me talking to you about it, not a super simple spec. We just went through a lot of abilities, and there's actually a few that I didn't cover, which I apologize if I missed some that some of you guys think are really important and pertinent. I sort of went over the heavy-duty ones that I think are really cool and that I use a lot. And I didn't go through talents or anything like that, but if you guys want to try the Rogue, it is a great class. I wanted to do this video for everybody so that if you're out there looking and you're thinking of doing a Rogue, final thing I'd like to say is don't be afraid to try the Rogue. I was intimidated for years to not try a Rogue because everybody told me they were the hardest class, TPS class in the game. They're definitely challenging, but it's not impossible. And I have screwed up my rotation plenty of times and done terrible damage on the meters. It feels bad. It doesn't feel good, when you're doing less damage than the tank because you can't hit the right buttons in the right sequence or make the right decisions quick enough. But the Rogue is so powerful because you can make choices about strategically attacking packs. And that once you master that, that's kind of irreplaceable in my book. And the fact that you have Shroud and you have the ability to conceal everybody and do skips, that's phenomenal. The fact you can sap enemies, the fact that you can take away enrage effects, and the fact that you can take down one enemy in particular very quickly, or you can blast down a bunch kind of evenly and do massive AoE. you have so many choices with this spec. It's not just a one and done. Like, these are the buttons you press every time, no matter what. It's kind of just sort of like cut and dry. Rogues are not like that. At least the sub rogue is not. I haven't played the other specs, but if you guys are looking for a really cool spec that's really interesting and very dynamic, I highly, highly, highly recommend the rogue. Hopefully I can take you guys into a dungeon with me in the next video, or maybe I'll do some questing or, you know, some sort of content to show you some of these abilities in action. But hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. And again, sorry that I have been on a little bit of a break. I've just been trying to get this rogue geared up and squared away, and I was trying to find a good spot to sneak in a video, and tonight just happened to be the perfect night. So again, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.